Happy Sunday, guys. This is Ree. So I'm coming to you to talk about what I've either read in the blogs, heard on the streets, or watched on TV. Today, it's about what I watched on TV. We are talking about 90 Day Fiancé. We're going to do episode 15, 16 in the reunion. I know it sounds crazy, but that's because when I tried to upload my video last week, YouTube and their copyright laws and regulations just kept bothering me. So we're going to not do the whole thing over, no. But I say 15 and 16 simply because, which 16 is the season finale, by the way, that came on tonight. 15 is the episode before it last week. I say that simply because I will be plugging in a couple of things that was seen last week or so. So just don't be alarmed. So I just want to get some of these couples out of the way. Let's quickly get Gino and Jasmine out of the way. We already know he proposed, yada, yada. She goes crazy on him once again. This time it was because the ex-wife kept his last name. Jasmine, that's a very common thing here in America. I don't know how common it is in Panama, but definitely in America that is common. No one has time to go through the whole court process and, dealing with the filing of the Social Security and all of that. No one has time for that all over again. A lot of people keep their ex-husband's last name, especially if they got business and all types of things associated with it. No big deal. Girl, move on. We're sick of you finding something to argue with. However, I will say that the reunion, I was pleasantly entertained by Jasmine. I was like, okay, Jasmine girl, I see you. She exposes that apparently Gino meets her on a sugar baby site, which to me, I'm like, now hold on. You were clowning this man for dealing with sugar babies, acting like, hey, you know what? I'm above the sugar baby thing. And if I'm going to get a sugar daddy, it's going to be the sugar daddy of all sugar daddies. Yeah, you've been crying over Gino every episode. And we find out that he did meet you on a sugar baby site. Now I understand why Gino was doing the whole, body language of being antsy as if he had something to say with the twitching and stuff. He probably was holding back exposing that. You should have exposed it the same way that Jimena exposed Mike when he tried to clown her for her having an adult website and then clowned him to remind, like, listen, that's why I met you at, Mike. You should have done the same thing with Jasmine's self. But I was still pleasantly entertained. She was a mess, basically exposing, I guess, like what she sees in Gino's drawers. He claims that whatever she sees, that's not semen. Well, Gino, what is it? Because she's telling the world that she's seeing shit up in your drawers. So what is it that she's seeing that, you know what? That's between you and your doctor. Let me leave it alone. So that's enough about them. We move on. We're going to briefly touch on Memphis and Hampton. Even though they were barely in this episode, they were barely spoke up on this part of the reunion. However, I want to briefly touch on them in reference to the post-nuptial agreement, which I thought was ridiculous for her to ask right before the wedding, ruining the celebration of things. And also her claiming that she was pregnant after only being there for 3 weeks and quickly taking a paternity exam. Let me tell you something. That baby's not Hamza. I'm willing to stand on it and say it. I'm willing to bet my last dime on it. I don't know. I wasn't there in Memphis's, panties to know what she got going on. But what I will say is that, let me not say I'll bet my last dime, but I'm willing to place a pretty heavy bet on it. And that's because Memphis, since you've arrived in Tunisia, or Tunisia, however you say the country's name, forgive me if it was disrespectful of me. But since you've arrived, you've been complaining of tummy aches. You've been tired. You've been very slothful. You've been gaining the weight, and so forth. Memphis, you came there pregnant, and you were so adamant about having sex with Hamza just to be easily to put it off that way. Let's also keep in mind of you sleeping over your ex-husband's house for 4 days. You're trying to claim it that I did that because I had failed my exam. Girl, bye. Okay? Bye. Bye. All right? Yeah, we need a paternity test to prove that. But Hansa is probably not going to care simply because he's now in America, which was his goal all along. And I know that had to have been his goal because it's impossible for you to make me believe that the way that this woman has consistently disrespected your mother's home, this post prenup, all of these types of things, and you just kept saying like fine to whatever that she suggested, yet being annoyed with her, and this being your first time officially meeting her in person. Hamza, you were trying to get to the US. Whatever. But you made it. So there's that. So that's all I wanted to say about them, at least for right now, until future, part two of the reunion. She did look incredible on part one. We can clearly see that she's had the baby, but she looked really good on part one. And honestly, just on aesthetics part, when I was looking at her and Hamza at the reunion, I was like, y'all do make kind of a cute couple. I'm not gonna lie to you. So yeah, so that's about that. Let's move on. Let's get down to Kimberly and Soulja Boy. Kimberly, Soulja Boy didn't embarrass you, you embarrassed yourself. So here's the thing. We left off, we know of Kimberly throwing a drink at Soulja Boy's face and whatnot. We know of Soulja Boy going ahead, creating a song, doing a surprise dinner for Kimberly. I think it was more so to get back his Soulja Boy chain and that PS5 and laptop. That's it. He just wanted his gifts back. He's like, listen, if I got to make a song and woo and swoo you in order to get these things back, fine. Because the moment that she left, what did Soulja Boy do? He immediately went and contacted the girl that he really wants, which is Zara, the girl that he wrote the song for without any hesitation, the girl that he believes he's more compatible with. Contacts her, which I found to be very disrespectful. And I did catch secondhand embarrassment for Kimberly because I'm like, girl, you went to beg this man on TV. You embarrassed yourself only for with all that to happen. He gets on FaceTime to speak with Zara to be like, oh, she's never stopped running through my mind. And, oh, do you miss me? As he asks her, as he proceeds to sing the song to her again, as he's letting her know like that he's showing some form of interest. Oh my gosh. Like, Soulja Boy. Soulja Boy is something else. How embarrassing. So, Kimberly runs out of the reunion studio because clearly she didn't see that clip into that very moment, considering that the reunion was taped before the last episode aired. The last episode aired tonight. The reunion, of course, was taped many weeks ago. So, I feel no sympathy for you, girl. I just caught secondhand embarrassment. But I feel no sympathy because you begged for Soulja Boy. You went to say that, oh, you'll be okay with him having a baby and having a second wife. Kimberly, no, you will not be. You will not be. You're saying these things because you wanted to make sure you upheld Soulja Boy's interest, at least to lock him in. Now that he's, quote unquote, locked in, now you get to reveal how you really feel. And your uneasiness while they question you about him having a baby or whatnot tells me everything that I needed to know. Girl, you are not okay with that, and you will not be okay with that. And when that time comes, you're going to give him hell about it. So there's that. Let's move on. Mike and Jimena, this is where the meat and the potato is, because every time I try to upload to go in on Mike, it just stopped me. So I'm going to attempt to keep this short and sweet. I want to start off with where Mike goes and after they shoot pool, where he asks her about, oh, I noticed that once I started saying no to you, that you haven't been as affectionate to me. Mike is a predator. He preys. Okay. And he thinks that we're all stupid. He has gone to great lengths to play this naive, I'm a victim role, when in reality, he knew what time it was from the very, very beginning. And his low self-esteem, insecure, never had a girl, definitely never had a girl as, that he considers as hot as Jimena. And you were willing to do anything to keep her while being ashamed at your true intentions behind it. So therefore you convince your family and your friends and the viewers that, oh no, I'm confused. This is about money. Like she's using me for money. No, she didn't use you for money. This is a transactional relationship. You led with money. The moment she says to you after that pool hall, we're over with, and you go, oh, well, you know what? I'm going to take back my things. What are you referring to? Money. Money. And what did she say? Take it back. Now you realize you didn't have the upper hand on her because you figured that as long as you were dishing out money, it didn't matter what you did. It didn't matter that you was farting all over the place, dragging poop into her home, being disgusting and gross at her family's dinner table, stinking, breath smelling, all of these things. It didn't matter that you were just a grotesque person because your mindset was, I'm shelling out money so she'll put up with it. And I get to act like I don't know that she's in this for money. Mike, you're ridiculous. I'm glad that him and exposed you. I'm glad that as you expose yourself to be just as a lowlife as we thought that you were. You were trying to shame her and demean her all because she didn't want to be with you. Oh, are you going to go back to that adult website for your modeling? And then what does she do? She exposes your grotesque butt. That's where I met you at, Mike. Mike, you remember telling us that you met her on Tinder and you just changed the location to get more international people? You remember telling us that, Mike? You did. I remember it. You did. And now she exposes that you actually met her on that website. And on IG, she exposed that you would, bring your tool out, so to speak, playing with your tool. And feel like you're just a gross person. And that you begged her to quit the job, that you'll take care of her. You tried to purchase her. She's not property. She's not your property. She's a human being. You are one of these useless people that go to these foreign countries and you find you a decent looking girl from a very impoverished background that probably costs nothing more than $200 to $500 in US dollars a month to maintain her and her family. And you buy her. You are trying to buy her. But she is still a human being with an opinion, with a mindset, and with manners. And she was grossed out with you. And you couldn't handle that. Now we find out during the season finale, first off, after you tried to force your way into her home in front of her kids, traumatizing everyone there, season finale, you call her up, hey, you know what? Can I come back to go and say my goodbyes? No, go to the airport. They calmly said what they needed to say to get you out of their house, and I don't blame them. I don't blame them. Because you were creating hell. Okay, yeah, you can come back tomorrow. Whatever. They knew good and well. No, you're not coming back to the house. Here's the FaceTime. Say goodbye to everybody. Bye. You are not those boys' father. You're not their father. Go home. Then you contact her. Hey, you know what? Like, your life before, like, I can give you a better life. Like, look at it like this, a vacation home here, vacation in New York. Like, you were once again leading with money while talking down on her to your family and friends as if, oh, she's using you. She didn't use you. You practically handed her your accounts. Even after she begged for you to leave her alone, you continuously handed her your accounts practically. Tell your friends and your family that. Like, one argument is enough for us to be done with. You're sick. You're sick. So, of course, she says, I'll think about it. Now we find out the reunion where he's like, yeah, we're back together. Let me tell you something. I'm convinced that before the reunion, and we'll see what comes out during part 2, because the way that Jimena said, like, oh, I'm not in love, we see during part 2, it tells me that I'm convinced that you probably reached out to her before the reunion. You didn't want to be embarrassed. Begging her once again, please, please, please be with me. Like, let's just work this out. Let's just, like, embarrassed. How are you not ashamed of yourself? Just sickening. Oh, so that's my review so far. You guys, let me know what you guys think about everything that's taken place so far. Mike, we know is grotesque. Do you think that he was also trying to buy Jimena? Do we applaud Jimena for giving back the things? I would not have given you back any of those things. I would have handed you back the rings. Yes. But as far as handing you back things that you gave as a gift, I'm not handing you back any of that. This was a transactional relationship. You handed those things over for her to sleep with you and to lay with you, and she did those things. I'm not handing that stuff back. And he confesses in an interview that when he left back for America, that he took the laptop and her phone. So you took things that were gifts. You handed it, you took it back. And you got the nerve to call her trying to lead again with money. Boy, go to hell. Go to hell, Mike. Okay? What do you guys think so far about everything? Let me know. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Again, we are going to try to be as consistent as possible. And I cannot wait to hear from you guys. Talk to you soon. Bye.